that sugar can be as addictive as cocaine? My name is Dr. Carolina Melgar. I'm a cardiologist, and today I would like to talk about a very sweet addiction called sugar. When an individual eats sugar, the brain produces huge surges of dopamine. This is similar to the way the brain reacts to the ingestion of substances like heroin and cocaine. In the last 5 years, more and more studies have shown that people often enjoy dopamine release that sugar brings. But due to the addictive nature of sugar, long-term health effects like obesity and diabetes are the consequences. Addiction is a strong word, but it might be a really helpful word to push us to recognize the power of certain foods on the brain. So food can be just like a drug for some people. Let me elaborate a little bit more on this subject. For most of the human history, it was important to eat a lot of calories in order to survive. With modern food technology and the huge access to high-calorie foods, this is no longer necessary for survival. However, our brains and evolution haven't yet caught up with this shift. Our brains still perceive sugar as beneficial and release huge amounts of dopamine when we consume it. So what do you think will happen on the long run? Basically, sugar will start to generate the same effects that any other addictive substance, such as tolerance and craving. This craving can be so strong that many people who eliminate sugar from their diet find themselves experiencing withdrawal symptoms like irritability, fogginess, moodiness, and even low energy. So what exactly happens to our brain every time we eat sugar? Our brain releases dopamine, it's a neurotransmitter, and it conveys the feeling of pleasure. So pleasure is good, right? And a lot of pleasure, is it better? Well, no, it turns out it's not. In the process of going for more pleasure, we have changed our dopamine system. When we stimulate this pleasure by liberating more and more dopamine in our brain, this causes our dopamine receptors to decrease. And therefore, it doesn't matter how much dopamine your brain gets, you won't feel that pleasure anymore. This is just the same as living with an urge you can't satisfy. And it's causing people to overeat in order to get that dopamine that they're missing. You have to eat more to get the same effect. This is called tolerance. When you remove the sugar from your diet, you have less dopamine and less dopamine receptors. This causes a person to feel irritability, moodiness, excessive tiredness, and those are the symptoms of withdrawal. So, tolerance and withdrawal, both hallmarks of addiction. The same thing happens with nicotine, alcohol, cocaine, cannabis, and it occurs with sugar. So, after all this is said, what is our goal? To eliminate as much sugar from our diet as we can. There are many natural substitutes that we can add to our diets in order to prevent serious problems and the consequences that it leads to. So in my next video, I will be talking about these natural substitutes for sugar. I hope you can join me.